Lucas, say hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. All right, guys. Today we are in the car with my son. We're actually at the parking lot here at church. Pero dahil medyo may sumpong itong anak ko, who's on the spectrum, dito kami while my wife and my other two kids go to church. So I'm shooting right now sa Insta360 Luna Ultra, the one with the two lenses. So tinatesting ko lang itong bagong camera for our videos, and so far so good naman. Ang daming there's a lot of problems with this, issues with this gimbal camera na pwede namang ma-address sa mga firmware issues, but I'm still waiting for any kind of updates from Insta360 before I make the decision to keep this, kasi I have exactly 2 months to test this out. So yeah, first and foremost, yung camera na to, it has two sensors. The main sensor is 1 inch, yung wide angle one, and then the 3x telephoto lens has a 1 and 1/3 sensor. You know, yung mga capabilities niya is very different. But so far, I haven't seen anything really too concerning na medyo, as far as like, if you're not really doing anything professional, if you're just using this camera for like daily vlogs and documenting your life, I think this is a perfect camera kasi ang dami niyang benefits. The pros outweigh the cons, so to speak, in terms of like the capabilities of this camera. But people tend to hyper focus on some of the quirks and rightfully so, because this is a very expensive camera. If you're investing in this camera, you should really know what's the value that you're getting out of it, and you have to really vet for its capabilities. But at the same time, the current situation here in the US is we cannot buy the new DJI products unless you import it from overseas, or you happen to travel overseas and you buy it there and you bring it back home. That's the only way you can kind of have that camera here. DJI Osmo Pocket 4 and Pocket 4P that's coming out soon. But if you already have the DJI Pocket 3, I think that's a very capable camera on its own. Now, if you're just doing like these basic kind of talking head videos or documenting your daily life, hindi mo kailangan ng i-upgrade into this camera unless you really need some of the features related to this current camera. But anyway, how does this look as far as like a vlog setup? Kung itong gagamitin kong pang vlog, like if we're doing a lot of travel or just daily vlogs, life, day in the life kind of things, how does this look? All right, so now I'm going to list some quirks, some wish list fixes that I wish Insta360 or any aftermarket company would do for this camera. So as far as like firmware is concerned, what I want to see from Insta360 is, just top of my head, when you're shooting log, you have to have a monitoring LUT directly applied onto the screen, so you could tell that you are exposing yourself correctly. You don't want to see just flat grayscale on the screen when you're shooting in iLog. It's very detrimental to any creator who wants to shoot cinematically and wants to shoot direct log. We want to see if we're exposed correctly. I mean, people who want to be shooting in log at least want to see a histogram. At the bare minimum, at least have a small histogram onto the on the screen, whether it's in the lower right, lower left, because some of this screen real estate is too busy. You could eliminate some of these icons, like when you're shooting iLog and your shutter speed is indicated, it's like on the upper 3/4 of the screen. You could get rid of that. You could just put that where at the very top so that you can see your framing properly. It would be nice to have some grids so you could frame yourself properly. But main thing is for those who want to shoot in log, we want to see if we're being exposed correctly. That's one. Another thing is this microphone, although it's pretty nice and the features are pretty great, the clip is absolutely trash. You will lose this thing eventually. That clip, if you're not using the magnet, that clip will easily snap off. In my opinion, that should have been a more stronger connection, or at least have it have a, maybe somebody will come up with this, the Small Rig or some other company, or Tilta, is come up with a magnet clip that is actually pretty strong, because you could easily snap this off from its clip. I don't like that. I don't like it one bit, because I could tell I'm gonna lose this, and I'm pretty careful with my stuff. I don't usually lose things, but this connection where it kind of hooks onto the body of the microphone, it's trash. So somebody come up with a solution for that. When shooting log, when you're zooming in, when the camera transitions from one lens to the other lens, there is a drastic shift in exposure, and you'll see that from some of the content creators that have exposed this flaw. I think it can be exposed. I think it can be fixed with a firmware update, where when switching, it automatically calibrates, or it could be a more smoother transition instead of it being so abrupt, as far as like the exposure compensation is concerned. That could be another issue. So right now I'm shooting in iLog. That's 2x, 3x, 6x, 12x. So I'm not shooting in iLog like yung flat profile. I'm shooting in iLog but my filter, so it's already baked in. Yung yung look niya is already baked in. So let's see if there's any color shift. There's a slight shift when you go from the 3x lens to 2x. But as far as like when you're shooting in cinematic mode, wala naman gaano diferensya. I also got the creator bundle, so it comes with this case. I think all bundles come with this case. But along with the case, you get a wide angle lens, which is actually attached to the camera right now. You get a wireless microphone, the Mic Pro, which is pretty badass in my opinion. You could actually change the display to whatever logo you want. I have my logo here. You get two of these. This one happens to be the battery extension, which is a little bit longer than the other one. It's a little shorter, but the shorter one they both have USB connections at the back. So if you're sending it down, you could just plug into the back of the extension. This one, or the camera itself, has a USB plug, but it's underneath. So if you're planning on having to stand up and charging, you can't do that. You have to use one of these. Both of them also have these these mini tripod legs. I don't know if you can see that from the lighting. I don't know if you could see. Yeah, they have these paperclip tripod legs, which in a pinch can be useful if you just need to set it down on a very flat surface. Any kind of non-flat surface, it might tip over. But we also have the Osmo Pocket 3, so that comes with the tripod legs. So I could just usually just take that and screw it down into here and use that as our mini tripod. So both of the extensions come with the tripod legs, as well as a 1/4-20 thread for attaching it to any kind of like tripod or clamp device, whatever you want. So yeah, you get one of these, and then in the creator bundle you get the carrying case, which I don't have right now. You get a lanyard, you get a extra wind muff for the screen the wind protector, which is on the gimbal itself. And I think that's pretty much it. If I missed anything, I'll indicate it in the description. But from a creator perspective, get the creator bundle. Like it's only like a couple $100 more, and you get more functionality out of it. But if you already have those accessories, if you don't see yourself using the battery extension or the other extension, and you have a aftermarket, tripod extension that could plug into USB underneath, similar to the Pocket 3, but I'm pretty sure the clamps on the side of the camera are the dimensions might be different. I haven't tested it yet, but if you have aftermarket support, or if you're waiting for third-party companies to come up with some kind of aftermarket support for your camera, then you don't have to get the creator bundle. But if you're spending that much money anyway, just go ahead and get the creator bundle. Right now, I'm not shooting in manual mode because I don't have ND filters for it. However, if you're in a pinch and you want to shoot cinematically, but you don't have the official ND filters, you could actually use the Osmo Pocket 3 filters, the smaller ones. It will only cover one lens at a time, but in a pinch you could actually use it. You can, and you won't see any vignetting, or you won't see any borders of that lens. Surprisingly, even though they don't line up correctly, they surprisingly work pretty well on the wide or the telephoto lens. So you can use it in a pinch if you already have that, which we do. But me being me, I'm still gonna get the official ND filters, or aftermarket ones like from Freewell or Telesin or SmallRig. Once they release those filters, I'll probably get those, because they're more proprietary, and you could use both lenses. It's gonna cover both lenses. And you could stack them. Like you could stack this wide angle on top of the ND filter. So the ND filter would go on next, and then you could stack the wide angle on top of that. So you could use it that way. With the Osmo Pocket 3 filters, you can't stack it. You can't stack this wide angle. One of the selling points of this camera is this. Ito yung ito yung front plate niya. This is where the controls and the screen lives, and it usually attaches to the front of the gimbal, the gimbal camera. But you can detach this and set your camera down somewhere, like kung gusto ko siyang ilagay sa malayo, and I could set it up, and I could view my framing on the screen right now, and at the same time I could also control the gimbal. Like if I move it, see, I could actually move the gimbal left and right. I could move it this way, I could move it that way. You could frame yourself, and also at the same time you can, if you don't have a wireless microphone like I have here on my collar or on my shirt, this one actually has a built-in microphone that you can see right here on top. In a pinch, it can provide pretty good audio. But right now I'm using the wireless microphone, so you don't have to use this, but you could use this as a framing device and also control your camera this way. You could control the zoom, you can control the tracking. Pretty much your entire camera can be controlled with this remote screen front plate. But at the same time, some of the implementers have pointed out some flaws of this screen, where it could have connection issues, it could have overheating issues or battery drain issues. So hopefully that can be fixed with a firmware update from Insta360. But from my daily use, as I use it right now, as I'm not even considered a content creator, but if I'm just going to be using this as a video documentation device of our daily life for our personal videos, then this actually works pretty well. So I'm going to reattach it right now, and right now I'm currently recording, and as I'm attaching it, it's still recording, and it just switched over. The quality switched over pretty quickly. Once you take it off, it could have some frames, drop frames, where it's not going to be as smooth as it being directly connected to the camera, as it's getting power and the frame rate is at its maximum. As you disconnect it and you walk further away from the camera, it could have some connection issues, and You could have some weak signal issues, especially if you're in a room where there's a lot of like Wi-Fi signals or Bluetooth signals. It could disrupt the connection. I'm not sure if that can be fixed with a firmware update, if it has something to do with hardware as far as like having a direct connection to the camera. But you know, in a pinch, if you need to frame yourself, you need to set up a shot, which I pretty much guarantee from my use case that I'm not going to be doing that too often, where I'm going to be setting it very far. I'm usually going to be like 5 to 10 feet away from the camera if I'm just doing like a basic framing shot, if I'm showing where I am or I'm showing where my family is. You know, that's the only use case I could see me using it. I'm not going to be setting it like, you know, 20-30 feet away where I have to get this huge wide angle shot of a skyline or a landscape. It's going to be pretty basic. So in a pinch, you can use it that way, and I don't see any issue with it. Again, if you're a daily vlogger, content creator, you could probably use it that way. Don't buy into the negative hype. You know, people tend to buy into the hype of the camera, but people also tend to buy into the negative hype where they get discouraged to buy this camera because of the reasons pointed out by these paid influencers. Keep in mind, you know, a lot of these folks who are promoting and not promoting these cameras are paid, or they have an NDA, or they have a disclosure or a contract to say specific things about the camera, and you know, and vice versa. They could be, some people who don't have a incentive to lie about the camera will tell you the negative things about the camera, which most of the time outweigh their use case scenarios. I wish that the zoom can be calibrated where if you just want to do like a very soft zoom where it's just very slow, based on the position of the zoom rocker, instead of it being just like one constant speed of zooming, I want it where you could just, you know, halfway or slightly press the zoom rocker up or down, and it will slowly zoom until you go all the way on the zoom range, or I mean on the actual zoom rocker. If you're all the way to the top of it, then it's at the fastest way to zoom. But if you're like halfway through it, you're just barely pushing it, that it will zoom slowly. Not sure if that's a hardware thing or it can be fixed with software. Speaking of zoom, I wish there was a way to quickly jump back to 1 instead of going through the entire range of zooms, instead of, you know, clicking. If you're zooming into 2x, 3x, 6x, and 12x, if I'm at 6x and I want to jump back to 1, I don't want to go to 3 to 2 to 1. I wish there was just a way to just toggle between 1 and 3x, the main lenses. I don't want to. There's a lot of times where I don't want to go via digital zoom. I just want to go from 1 to 3, or from 6 back to 1. I don't want to go through all the steps. I just want to have like a default where I can just click. You know, if you look to the right of the screen, there's a 1x. Leave that at 1 and then use the zoom rocker to zoom in if you want to zoom from 1 to using the digital zoom. But if you want to just jump from 1 to 3 and back to 1, just have that available on the screen. Maybe someone will come up with a better solution than what I presented. But I wish there was a way to quickly jump. I wish there was a way to quickly jump back to 1x on the main lens. So that being said, I like this camera. I might keep it. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks they would release a firmware update. And yeah, so far so good. I really enjoy this camera right now from my testing, and I will continue using. I will be continue using it, and we'll just go from there. Hey guys, if you are watching this, thank you for sticking around during my long rambling video of some of the quirks of the Insta360 Luna. But that being said, I actually really like this camera, and I'm planning on keeping it. So stick around, because I'm gonna create more videos about this camera, about the stuff that I actually do like about it. And there's plenty of pros that outweigh the cons that I just mentioned in the video. And I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later.